California's Proposition 13 was meant to stop people from being taxed out of their homes, but advocates for tax reform say commercial property owners have benefited most from the measure. They want legislators to tinker with the 32-year-old law to get businesses to pay more in property taxes. KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma has more in our continuing series on Proposition 13.
If I was in LA, California dreaming.
We used to have the California dream here, a world-class infrastructure, the best educational system in the world, a state that everyone was really proud to live in, and in a way that made our economy boom.
Donald Cohen, co-founder of San Diego's Center for Policy Initiatives, says that dream is collapsing under the weight of Prop 13.
We are now at a place where our schools are moving towards the bottom of the list. Our colleges are harder and harder to get into. Our infrastructure is deteriorating.
Restoring California's golden era, Cohen says, would mean tweaking Prop 13, a move seen as heresy by some. Prop 13, passed by voters in 1978, caps annual property tax increases to no more than 2% of their assessed value unless there is new construction or ownership changes. But even if ownership changes hands, Cohen says a business's property taxes still might not go up.
Unfortunately, businesses figured out a loophole in that law. When they sell their property, they usually change their corporate structure in a way to avoid even the reassessment. And that's a loophole that we can close right away.
Tax reform advocates say lawmakers could make other changes. One is requiring businesses to pay property taxes based on current market value, while still taxing homeowners under Prop 13 rules. For example, San Diego-based defense contractor SAIC pays $226,000 in annual property taxes on its San Diego headquarters. But if the building were assessed at market value, the company would pay close to $385,000.
The question is, do we want to continue to subsidize commercial property owners, or do we want to fund teachers?
Phil Ting is the assessor in San Francisco County. He says right now, homeowners in some parts of the state are bearing the brunt of property taxes.
30 years ago, 59% of the property taxes were paid by commercial property owners here in San Francisco, and that burden has now shifted to the residential property owners, because now the residential customers who used to pay 41% are now paying 53% of the property tax burden.
Ting has started a statewide campaign on Facebook to change the rules on how commercial properties are taxed, a move he says could raise more than $7 billion. But most commercial property owners, like David Malcolm, says changing the rules would dig California into an even deeper fiscal hole.
Small business people create 70 to 80% of all jobs in the United States. And yet here we have Sacramento once again focusing on raising the taxes of small businessmen. It is dumb.
Malcolm owns a 6-story commercial building on the corner of El Cajon Boulevard and 30th Street in San Diego. The building has an H&R Block, a dry cleaner, and a restaurant. The top floors have low-cost housing.
If property taxes are doubled, all my leases, which is a typical lease, the tenants pay the property taxes, so that cost gets passed on to them.
For now, the idea of raising commercial property taxes is just that. County assessors across the state are taking a closer look at how much the tax burden has shifted from business owners to homeowners. But San Diego County Assessor David Butler says it's not a simple issue.
You can't just look at the property tax aspect of it. I think you have to consider what's it going to do economically. Is it going to drive business out of California? Is it just going to get passed on to the consumer? So the homeowners, instead of paying it as property tax, he's going to be paying more for his goods and services and everything. That's a big question. I think it needs to be studied pretty thoroughly before you just move down this path.
Amitha Sharma, KPBS News.